Hello traders, it's CreepEvee and we're back to our Ritual Spellslinger deck. Just to give you guys a reminder what the deck looks like, we are basically going to try to put Ophidian Eye effects onto our burn monsters, monsters, I've been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This weekend. Our burn creatures, such as Firebrand Archer, and play our cantrips, that way we burn, and then we draw off of Ophidian Eye, and continue until we burn our opponent out. So we will jump right into the games. Alright, we're going first, and I like a lot of parts of this hand, so I think we're going to try it. It's not bad for going first. We'll just lead off with an Evolving Wilds. I think that'll be fine. Thoughts in Knots. I like that name. Well, good luck to you, Mr. Thoughts in Knots. Plays the Ponder. Man, oh man. Just Pauper is such an interesting format where you can play Ponder. Part of the reason why I like Pauper. There's so many cards that you're not used to being able to play in other formats. We'll search out a mountain. Do we draw an untapped land? We do. Let's go island, and we'll go Thermo Alchemist. I think that is our best play. Firebrand Archer is the faster of the two, so I think playing the Thermo Alchemist is almost always better first. Brainstorm. Our opponent gonna have pretty much whatever he wants in his hand at this point. Blue is just such a dominant color in this format. If you're new to Pauper, that's, I think, the first thing that players should know is just how good blue is. And that's part of the reason why blue is so good. Let's see, does this target creatures? No. That's unfortunate. Would have been pretty happy about it if it did. So we'll play a Saprazan, and we'll drop a Thermo Alchemist and pass it off. But yeah, having access to Delver is pretty scary. Delver is a pretty scary card in just about any format it's ever been played in. Gosh, I was talking to my friend about the Innistrad. Excuse me, my voice cracked a little bit. About the Innistrad Limited that I did for the channel last week. You should check it out if you haven't. But we were talking about just how many things were in Standard at the same time at that point, because he wasn't playing at that point either. So it was just kind of crazy to think about cards like Delver and Restoration Angel being legal at the same time. I mean, the Green Titan, Primeval Titan, like all of those things being legal at the same time was just insane to think about. Man, another Manamorphose. These could be really good if we would just draw something. So I think I'm going to play Swiftwater and play Firebrand. And I think we're going to give it one turn before we go for the Manamorphose. But then after that, I feel like we're going to have to start going for it. I mean, we'll definitely be able to burn, because we're going to be able to cast all three of these, obviously. So we'll cast 1, 2, 3. So that's 1, 2, well, 3, 3, and then 2. So 8 damage off of just those 3, and hopefully drawing into other things. So we'll Thermo Alchemist. So that's one less that we have to work with, but we'll make work. We'll make do. I mean, it's still a tremendous amount of damage. And I'd prefer to see that chain lightning go to my opponent instead of me. But a is it versus is it match in Pauper is pretty nuts, pretty nuts. Like I said, if you are new to Pauper, just these two colors in this format, man. Mainly blue. Red is still good. I mean, you have a lot of options for how to build burn. But blue is just so good. A mountain. That's not exactly what I wanted. Well, first let's tap. Then cast Manamorphose. And we will probably just make a red and a blue here. So always yield. Always yield. Just try to make this go a little bit quicker. So Manamorphose is not the worst one that we could get based on the fact that we do get to draw off of it. But otherwise, not exactly the greatest one for us to get. Let's actually try Gitaxian Probe here. And we'll pay for it with life. And the reason why I want to do this first before the Manamorphose, one, probably just the most value out of it, and two was to get a peek at our opponent's hand, considering the fact that they're playing blue. But to see the sprite come down, let's go ahead and tap there. To see the sprite come down at that point, now that my opponent is tapped down, pretty reassuring. Let's just continue to chain the Manamorphi. Guess that's how you would say it, the plural of Manamorphose. We'll add red and a blue again. A Ponder. Well, let's try that out. Let's first... Oh man, I'm going to miss my opportunity to do this here. Yeah, I screwed that up. Because I'm always yielding to that, so I messed that up. But I think we're going to be okay. The Desperate Ritual, yeah. It's going to be pretty good. I'm going to let that come to me. And we'll go tap the Saprazan, cast Desperate Ritual. I just need to remember to tap the Thermo Alchemist as soon as I can. And then we'll cast Manamorphose. Getting 2 there. Tap. I think we're in a pretty solid position here. But you never know what tomorrow brings. Got our opponent to 4. Desperate Ritual and Dangerous Wager. So we want to go Mountain, Ritual, Wager, and no draw. We'll actually just play the Mountain, cast Wager, untap, so we'll be able to get pretty close to a kill here. And then this will finish it off. Didn't even need to tap down there. So this will be enough to kill. There we go. Alright, so what all do we have coming to us? Rite of Flames. So yeah, we had things were going pretty well for us, even though we weren't able to draw cards off of an Ophidian Eye or anything. So how do we combat our opponent's strategy? I think that mostly comes from the Pyroblasts. And what comes out? That is the bigger question. The constant problem that you have when you're playing combo decks of what to take out. The boy oh boy, I do not know. Mizium skins seem pretty good. I definitely want to keep the probes. Tempted to go down a no, I would go down an expedite before I went down a faithless looting. So let's take one out. I don't know, this is tough. We could go down. Let's just go down one Mizium skin. I think we can afford to do that. And we'll try that. The Pyroblast gives us a lot of options. We can use it as a counterspell. We can use it to get rid of a Delver, which probably going to be part of what we use it for. So this hand is so good if we had one land. That hurts to shuffle away. I think this is something to work off of. We'll put the Manamorphose to the bottom. We're going second, so it isn't quite as bad. We will have to see how this goes. Opens up Island Preordain. Not a bad turn for him. We unfortunately not looking at quite that good of a start. Ooh, Firebrand Archer that we cannot play right now. It's unfortunate. And we'll get our tap land out. The good news is we do have a Firebrand Archer, we have an Ophidian Eye, and we have fast mana. So there's not much else you can ask for. Fast mana, mana fixing, and a probe. The question is, how much interference does our opponent have? Well, let's go for a Ponder, I guess. I hate to take a counter off of the Saprazan this early. This is pretty awful. Oh man, I don't know whether we can play with this. Oh man, I really want the Sandstone Needle. It's just a guaranteed Sandstone Needle. I'd rather have a Mountain. But that does not seem to be in our stars for today. What this does set us up to do, because we're going to have 4 mana here, that's a 5th mana. So that sets us up for Firebrand into Ophidian Eye, and then we could even probe. Well, no, would we want to probe? Because that's draw. We'll be at 7. We're going to go -3. And then double draw. So yeah, we won't be exceeding hand size. Oh, we could Desperate Ritual. I hate to do that first, but because then we miss out on the trigger on Firebrand. But by doing that, we actually enable ourselves to be able to make a play here. Granted, it's kind of a risk as to whether that play will work out, but so let's see, we'll draw. I think it's worth the risk, in all honesty. Oh man, I didn't mean to spend 2 red there. That I did not mean to do. Well, it really doesn't make a difference. So we'll go Ophidian Eye here. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, if I would have done it differently, I could have gotten the Desperate Ritual. But it is kind of a risk as to whether I would draw anything useful that I could play off of 1 mana. Oh, I chose to look at my own hand. Oh boy, we are off to a good start. Alright, so always yield and always yes. Getting to the Saprazan, getting to a Rite of Flame. See, if I would have done it, we would have had it. But honestly, it's a huge risk. So I'm kind of happy that we didn't take the risk. At least that's what I'll tell myself to sleep at night. I do think that it is a better play not to take that risk, because then we're operating off of 1 red mana or 1 blue mana, depending on how we choose to order it. And that is just kind of risky to see what you top deck off of. Whereas you could save it for next turn. It's going to be a Ninja Transmuting. Or not Transmuting. Yeah, there we go. Ninjutsu. It's part of the reason why blue is so good in this format. Vapor Snag. Oh man, that's going to set us back. Especially after losing that Saprazan. This sucks because to cast Firebrand Archer I have to give up a Sandstone Needle. Let's go pay 2. Manamorphose. And make we'll make 2 red. Getting a Flame Jab. And that's all the drawing I can do. The only thing that I can really do is try to generate enough mana to make a Firebrand and Thermo Alchemist play. So we'll go Rite of Flames, getting to 3. So that'll be enough to cast both. Firebrand Archer and then Thermo Alchemist. And then Saprazan. But now we are without red mana. If we get to 1 mountain, then we have a lot of red mana, but we are in a very tricky spot. But I feel like getting creatures out was a priority, except we just lost both of them, so what you gonna do? That was rough, not gonna lie at all. And there was our Tandem Lookout. We're pretty much out of it at this point. Yeah, it's gonna be rough to draw out of this. So right now we're taking 3 a turn. That puts us on a 4-turn clock. You know, the amount of cards that my opponent is drawing, I feel like that clock can be shortened very easily. The Augur Bolus comes down after doing all that hiding. A Manamorphose that we cannot play, and we have to pass again. Of course, I could play the Tandem Lookout, but I just... Assuming we somehow draw out of this, we do need to still have resources. And if we get rid of Tandem Lookout, then we don't have resources. So we are down to Lightning Bolt, Death, Is that it? No, a chain lightning. But a lightning spell nonetheless puts us away. What did we have coming to us? Stuff that does not help. Well, I guess Thermal Alchemist would have been a step in the right direction, but... So, I was really trying to avoid having to go for the counter magic. But I think it kind of has to happen. I hate siding in counter magic in a deck like this, but you gotta do what you gotta do here, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna lose if we don't. Let's go down one. Ah, man, the Mysium Skin is probably gonna be clutch for us. Don't want to go down any of our... Let's go down a Tandem Lookout and then go up to Dispels and see what happens there. It's a rough sideboarding decision. If you guys have any critiques on the sideboarding, please do let me know. I'm terrible at sideboarding. I have always been. And no land. So many good things to happen if we had it, though. And now a bunch of land and not much to do with it. But I think we need to try it. Let's go with a mountain, see where that goes. We do have the Ophidian Eye, and we do have some fast mana. So there are a lot of good things about this hand. It's just I think the negatives outweigh it. Pyroblast, that's not bad to have. We'll keep that open. I don't think I want to use it this early on, but you never know what my opponent might throw down. Well, that is not the creature that I wanted to draw. I think we'll pass off of that. I don't think that the Tandem Lookout is worth it. Kind of nervous with how little we're drawing here. So let's probe. So a very scary hand. 2 lightning bolts in hand, a counterspell, and a preordain. Let alone the Augur Bolus. So pretty bad stuff. I'm baffled as to why Gitaxian Probe targets don't show up in revealed card zone. The revealed card zone is such a great idea, but then you don't really get any value out of it because, well, I mean, you get value out of it in a lot of other ways, but I don't know. Operators of MTGO, if you're listening, which I know you are not, we're going to let the Augur Bolus go through. Don't think I want to spend a Pyroblast on it quite yet. Even if we do draw into a creature right now, we have to figure out some way to defend it. And that's going to be tough considering what our opponent has going on. I mean, out of everything that was in that scary hand, I think the 2 lightning bolts are probably the scariest part. So we need to find Dispels or the Mysium Skin. Problem is that there are two. Well, Augur has us on a 9-turn clock. Make that 8 after this. Oh, it goes for the ninja. I think ninja has to hit the board and then we pyroblast it. I think that it is definitely worth using the pyroblast there. He chooses not to go for the negate in response. So we will ponder. Faithless Looting, Gitaxian Probe, and a Thermo Alchemist. A lot of good things there. A lot of good things. So we're going to go Thermo Alchemist, Gitaxian Probe, Faithless Looting, and no shuffle. Drawing into the Faithless Looting. Cast Faithless Looting. Discarding 1 Rite of Flames and 1 Tandem Lookout. And then we have Faithless Looting available to us. I think we're going to do it because we need to get some things in our hand. We'll discard a Flame Jab and a Probe, I think, would be the play. And pass turns. We did a lot this turn, just not much productivity except burning through cards. We do have a Faithless Looting to work off of, which is always good. But we need to get to those dispels. If not, we have a poor little Thermo Alchemist trying his darndest to make a way for himself in the world. If anything, we're going to need Firebrand Archer and get to a point where our opponent is tapped down enough, like right now, to only be able to bolt once and then have either a Dispel or a Mizium Skin. I'm talking way ahead of myself here. But you need to have plans in case you do get a miracle draw. Okay, what do we get? Something good, something good. Our opponent is having a discard here. Kind of curious as to what he drops. Discards a Ponder. And we get to a Seething Song, which is not a bad draw. Well, there's a Firebrand Archer. So discard a Rite of Flames. And, gosh, either Manamorphose or, I think it has to be Manamorphose here. There's just no way to do anything here. I mean, yeah, we could Faithless Looting, but then I lose my Saprazan. I guess we'll try it. Dangerous Wager, Island. I think we definitely want the land. Dangerous Wager seems really good, potentially. Discard a Thermo Alchemist and a Manamorphose. But I definitely do want to play the island because we're going to need land now that we've had to give up that Saprazan. We've gone through a lot of cards. Our opponent's gone through quite a bit as well. seems to be working out a little bit better for our opponent than it's been working out for us. And speaking of card advantage, Ninja of Deep Hours hits the board. We are in a very good board state if we can draw at least one bit of protection. If we can draw one Dispel, well, can't be a Pyroblast now because we're worried about the Lightning Bolt, so we need it to be a Dispel. And this turn we can, because he only has one red mana available, does not have enough mana to cast a negate to complement it, so we are within striking distance of a play this turn. Unfortunately, drawing the Gitaxian Probe does not help much, except we can see that he is at 3 Lightning Bolts now. 2 Aura Bolus, a Counterspell, and a Vapor Snag. Well, we get a Thermo Alchemist. So there's a couple big risks that we can do here. Well, what am I saying? There's just no good risk here. Yeah, I was just gonna say we could play Firebrand and then Dangerous Wager, but that puts Firebrand in danger of being shot down. So I think we just have to pass here. This is killing me because I have to play smart, and I think that if you guys have watched many of my videos, you know I'm not capable of doing so. Take another hit from the Ninja of Deep Hours. Opponent grabbing another card. No Augur Bowl is coming down from him yet. There we go. More card advantage. It's a Ponder. That's not a fun card for our opponent to have. It'd be quite a fun card for us to have. I'd be pretty darn excited about it. Well, that does nothing for us. Like, just a wildly amount of nothing for us. I kind of just want to bait something with a Thermo Alchemist. Like, that's the best thing I can come up with, because right now we're just stagnant, waiting for my opponent to do nothing. And eventually we just get busted down or lightning bolted to death. Goes for the Vapor Snag. Well, that's one thing out of the way. That's pretty much how you have to operate this kind of a matchup. It's just, well, we got one thing through. Or, didn't get one thing through, we got rid of one card out of our opponent's hand. And we may actually just have to Dangerous Wager here. Like, that may be our only out. Is it our only out? Depending on... Alright, we'll let this one Lightning Bolt resolve. If he has, yeah, another one. So then what we have to do is go... Well, there's actually nothing we can draw into here. It's just Dangerous Waver. Just because we don't have enough mana, we can't cast... I was thinking Seething Song, but we don't have enough to cast it. And, so yeah, that is going to be game for this one. That was rough, though. We did get something going in that one game. What do we have else? Pyroblast, Swiftwater Cliff. So it was looking pretty bleak for us all around. But let's see if we can get another game in. Alright, guys. Looking at this hand, there's some potential, but also a whole lot of not potential. But I'm going to try it. We are going second, so I feel a little bit better about it. The biggest thing with this deck is you have to remember that you're relying off of creatures, and you only have 3 Alchemist and 4 of the Archer. So you have to keep in mind that that is not a lot of chances to draw those cards. So whenever you're planning out how to keep those hands, you probably want to value the ones where you actually end up with those. Oh man, here's another burn deck. Mono red burn is the favorite deck of every single player on MTGO. Well, at least we drew these Swiftwater Cliffs. But yeah, if you're playing on MTGO, you should definitely be accustomed to mono red burn. You're gonna see it a lot, and that is all I am going to say on the topic. Is that you will see it. Lightning Bolt. Alright, so 4 cards in hand, so not a ton of cards for him, relative to the amount that Burn usually has in hand. So we'll drop that, get a little bit of life back. Swiftwater Cliffs may be our saving grace in this matchup. Tapping Lightning Bolt. My opponent seems to be playing a little bit rash, just throwing out the throwing out his lightning bolts and everything, and not waiting until end of my turn. Not sure whether he's just playing a little bit on the inexperienced side or not. Maybe he's just confident, or, you know, obviously I don't know what's in his hand, so I am just going to go ahead and put this Tandem Lookout down, because we're most likely going to have to go on to an offensive play very quickly, and this is definitely something that we can still put an Ophidian Eye on if we need to and try to get in damage. Speaking of the devil, there is the Ophidian Eye. Unfortunately, it does not have anything accompanying it, and we kind of need it to, since my opponent has now played a creature that our Tandem Lookout has to get through. So we're going to shuffle, and we pull an island off of the top. That's a little bit disappointing. Before long, we might actually have to start playing out our hand and possibly looking at that dangerous wager. I don't know why I keep calling it waver. But so we're definitely going to have to consider that. I'm not going to swing, because if I swing, that's a free 2 damage for him next turn. Whereas that would just be putting him to 18. He definitely gets more value out of that trade. No attack. Alright, so we're gonna have to tap for this probe. Oh yeah, select target, then tap. Unfortunately, I really don't like to tap for probe. So, missed his miracle with the Thunderous Wrath, and is sitting on 2 Fire Blasts. So we're very, very susceptible to dying at this point, just based on that hand. We get to a Thermo Alchemist, which is not bad, but it could be a lot better. Next turn, we're just going to have to try to make it happen, which we definitely can. Getting the Tandem Lookout slapped on. He can, of course, Fire Blast us, but if we can pull a Fire Blast from us onto a creature, I would much prefer that versus dying horribly to a bunch of Fire Blasts. So that's going to be to our opponent's discretion there. if it were me, I would probably hold the Fire Blast and choose to target my opponent with those. Cast the Rift Bolt full out, killing the Thermo Alchemist, aka our saving grace. So the Fire Blasts, they do 4, right? I really should have looked. I'm pretty sure they do 4. So that'd be 8 with 2 damage each for the Firebrand Archer. So basically we need to win this turn, which is not out of the question. It is just a lot to ask. I just don't see a way for us to feasibly try to not win this turn. I don't think we are allowed that luxury at this point. This is a deck where you definitely have to decide when you want to win and when you're ready to lose. So I should just look. Yeah, it deals 4 damage. Yes. Well, he can only sacrifice 2 mountains. If he can get to another one, then he's set up. So there is our Firebrand Archer, who can definitely get things going since we already have the Tandem Lookout out. He can, of course, light thunder. Why can I not speak? Fire Blast. I'm pretty sure it's instant speed. I should have. So many things that I should do. So let's go Seething Song. Dealing 1, drawing 1, and getting 5 mana. And this actually puts us in a very good position. And I, emphasize that we're certainly not guaranteed a win here. I know Moto just updated and it has, now I'm seeing this little like warning sign there. Don't really know the what all that's about. If we pull off this win, I'm gonna have to say this is one for the highlight reel. Not that it's like crazy impossible for us to do. It'd just be pretty impressive, I think. We'll use 2 red here. Well, 3 red total. Get Seething Song to do its thing. And then we're in pretty good shape. We'll go ahead and cast a Ponder. Getting to a Rite of Flame. All good things here. Dangerous Wager. I think I'd rather shuffle this. Oh, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're cooking with vinegar. Or something like that. I'm assuming that Fire Blast is not instant speed because I feel like my opponent definitely would have cast it to kill the Firebrand Archer by now. But you know what they say about assuming. Not gonna say it here, try to be kid friendly. Get the damage, draw a card. I love that Ophidian Eye still triggers the Firebrand Archer. That's fantastic. We ended up drawing the Dangerous Wager anyway. Let's cast Rite of Flames. See, that'll put us up to 6 red mana. It only shows the storm counter whenever I'm actually playing something with storm in it. I kind of just want to like have one storm card in here just to see like how high it gets. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this here. My opponent is choosing to go ahead and Fire Blast now. I can definitely understand why. He is in a rough position right now. So we have another Firebrand Archer, another Ophidian Eye. We have access to a Dangerous Wager here. We're going to resolve a Rite of Flame to get 3 mana. And we can play a land this turn because we have not yet. So we're going to make 1 blue. Actually, we'll make 2 blue. Do we have anything else that we want to go for? I think we're going to let that one die. And then the Rite of Flame will trigger for us. We definitely could have played like the Dangerous Wagers, but I think we're fine doing this the way that we are currently. So we're going to play the Firebrand Archer here. We still have access to another Ophidian Eye here, and I'm questioning whether or not we play it. I think we should. So you know what? Let's do it to it. And we'll just go like 1 and 1 because we're gonna play that island. So luckily I don't have to reset that Firebrand Archer trigger. I think I'll have to reset the Ophidian Eye trigger though. We draw another Firebrand Archer, not bad. But I think our best interest is to Dangerous Wager. So let's play an island. And then go those 2. I don't know, there is an appeal to going for the Firebrand Archer here. But I think there's more of an appeal to going for the Dangerous Wager. The only problem is that these draw triggers are going to take place first. So we'll be drawing cards and then losing them essentially. This one is mandatory. This one we can say no to. So draw the Saprazan, discard a bunch of stuff there. We do get to a Mizium skin that we can cast, so that's quite good for us. Because now we can get rid of... we can use this to stop our opponent's Pyroblast from killing this. Assuming they get to another mountain. Well, we did not manage to kill our opponent that turn, but we did equal out our life total. So not bad. Pretty impressive, honestly. If I do say so myself. It's down the Thermo Alchemist. So a burn v burn matchup. I actually am going to let this go through because it's going to be pretty key that we are able to resolve over both creatures for the rest of our next turn. So I think we definitely want to go ahead and just keep that around. Let's play a Desperate Ritual. Triggers. I'm just going to go ahead and say yes to these to save time. Or no, I want to always yield and then always say yes. So yes. We get another Mizium skin. I'm not going to complain about it because I have a feeling that might save us. You never know. Draw 2. Gets to a Thermo Alchemist. So, Mizium Skin for Overload. I think that is our best play. We do have 2 of them in our hand, and we need to trigger Firebrand Archer and draw 2 cards. We need to finish this game off. Do not want to mess around, especially with our opponent having a Firebrand Archer and a Thermo Alchemist. A burn spell is going to do 1. He can tap, untap, tap again, so that's 3 damage just off of his creatures. It could become extremely problematic extremely quickly. So we do get to a Ponder this time. So a Ponder is going to be able to keep it going, that way we don't have to burn another Mizium Skin. And help us manipulate our top deck, which is something that I find quite important. And we do get to a Flame Jab, which is going to wrap this game up for us. This top of the deck, I'm actually just going to put this back in any order, and we're just going to see what we get, because the Flame Jab is all we need to win the game now. We're just going to cast it, then repeatedly cast it while we discard lands. We have 3 lands that we can discard, so that'll be 3 damage. Our Firebrand Archer is going to deal 3 damage each time, so we would actually be 2 over just based on that. We're going to draw 2 cards, which means a Desperate Ritual and a Rite of Flame, drawing 2 cards for each one of those and just generating a boatload of mana. Alright guys, so my opponent ended up scooping up the next game early. Really didn't get anything started. I pretty much just got my my creatures on board, and my opponent scooped it up. Looked like he didn't have anything in hand, so unfortunate. And I normally don't like to show games where they end early because of scoops, but I did want to show that first game because I thought it was one heck of a comeback victory. Just goes to show you how resilient this deck can be if you can get your board maintained. But that was really the theme of all of these games, was can you maintain this board? Can you keep these creatures alive? And that is the lifeblood of the deck, and you have to keep that in mind the entire time you're playing it. If you lose these 7 creatures that you have, you're out of the game, because you're not actually playing any burn spells. This is a burn deck, but the only burn spell that you're playing is a Flame Jab, and you're not gonna win the game with just a Flame Jab. There's not enough lands in this deck to actually win the game with a Flame Jab. So you're definitely, like, you're gonna have to know when to hold them and when to fold them, really. When can you maintain that board? And with that in mind, I think the only changes that I would make really would be to increase your ability to defend yourself. I really like Mizium Skin because normally if you have things like Dispels in the main deck, if you need to protect yourself, they're great, but at the same time, you're only going to be able to cast those in reactive situations. So either you're going to have to react to something that your opponent is doing while you're trying to combo off, or respond to your own card, which generally is not going to be a super great option. Necessary if you need to, but not super great. Whereas Mizium Skin is something that you can do at instant speed to protect your creatures, giving them hexproof, but also you can just play it in general. Don't have to be in a reactive situation. So obviously it is preferred, doesn't counter as many things obviously, but as far as protecting your creatures, that is your priority. So I would even consider going up to a third one, taking that other one out of the side deck, moving it over. Just from what I've seen testing this deck, it definitely has better matchups and worse matchups. Anything that targets a creature against you is a problem, and decks that don't, you can pretty much handle. But as with any combo deck, combos are fragile. This deck's combos are very fragile, even for your typical combo deck, so you have to keep that in mind. But when this works, this is a fun deck to play. I've really enjoyed playing it, even just some of the random testing hands. They're just fun to play out. Unfortunately, playing solitaire mode on MTGO doesn't actually work with this deck because the burn triggers off of Firebrand Archer don't have a target to actually burn. So since you're not doing that damage, then you're not triggering your Ophidian Eye effects. So you're pretty much just, you can play them and trigger the burn trigger, but because there's nothing being burned, you're not going to get your draw triggers. So seeing how you can storm off that way, you're not going to have the opportunity to see just how much you can draw there. But if you want to test hands in other ways, you can see just how fun this deck can be, just how many cards you can draw. I've decked myself out a couple times with this deck not paying attention, so pay attention to that as well. I'm actually planning on building this deck on paper because I've enjoyed it so much. I went ahead and got my Manamorphoses not too long ago, so thinking about really trying this out. Definitely feel like I could maybe do some adjustments to this list. If you guys have any ideas for adjustments that you would make, definitely let me know. But I do think that this is a pretty solid list in general. Definitely personal changes you could make, but this is a pretty strong list. And of course I'll have the link to the tapped out page that I got this from in the description, so be sure to go over there and give it a thumbs up. Support the creator of the deck. Like I said, I really enjoy it. There's nothing else to say, but it's fun. If you like storm type decks, this is one for you. If you want to generate a bunch of mana and cast a lot of cards, you can do that. If you're a burn player that wants to play burn but want to do it in a little bit wackier way, this is a wacky way to do it. But I am gonna quit rambling. I would like to apologize to you guys for this video coming out late. I know I'm getting videos out late, about once every 2 weeks now. This week has been crazy to say the least. It's been a lot of personal things going on, as well as whenever I do have time, I've been trying to work on some of the larger scale projects that I am looking to do. I try to keep you guys updated on that stuff on my own personal page, so if you follow me there, you'll get the updates that I post. I am working on a few larger projects for videos here on this channel as well, so look forward to those. Hopefully those can be coming to fruition fairly soon, but other than that, expect to see your videos for this upcoming week posted soon. I will try to have those on schedule back to normal, and we'll see about some of the other secret projects a little bit later. But with all of that being said, I'll shill a little bit. If you like the video, we sure do appreciate you hitting that like button, and as well hitting the subscribe button if you'd like to see all of my videos, as well as all the other videos from the wonderful content creators here at Magic Gathering Strat. We all really appreciate that. And of course, if you want to find more from me, you can check out my YouTube channel as well as my Facebook page, which will both be linked down in the comment section below. That way you can keep up on all of the videos that I post, and also when I am on MTGO recording videos. Of course, you guys know my username. It is CreepEvee, so add me if you'd like to get in a few games, whether they be for videos on the channel or just to play some games. Love to hear from you guys, get some games in with you guys. Always nice to interact with you. I kind of like you guys, and some of you seem to kind of like me, so maybe it works out. But with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next video.